Hey, I'm Dr. Fred DiDomenico of Elite Chiropractic Coaching, and I'm really excited to talk to you about, as a chiropractor, how to go from success into fulfillment. That's such a big step because I believe that, I'm sure you believe this too. Raise your hand if you believe the chiropractic is really a life purpose. That's why we're here. And it's one thing to be successful, yet we have this urge that comes from inside us. We know what that vision is, and fulfilling that vision is really our ultimate calling. And for that, that's why we founded Elite Chiropractic Coaching. So before we get into that, how did all this develop? Well, I went to LACC, graduated in 1987. So I've been around a bit, 30 years. And when I got out, LACC didn't have any philosophy, but I quickly found it at Dynamic Essentials, growing up with Jim Sigafus and all these guys that saw over 1,000 a week. So that became my reality, was we have a message that can change humanity. I think chiropractic is one of the greatest gifts that God gave humanity. And I actually think that we can do this and change the planet. Maybe it's silly enough to think that, but we set out on that mission. And what I found after 14 years, well, really 11 years in practice, I had 4 clinics in 14 years, all 500, 700 a week. But in the first 11 years, what I found was, man, I was fired up. I had a purpose. I could see 500 a week, but it was all personality dependent. It was, if I did it, I could do it. We needed 40 new patients a month. Otherwise, my practice would tank. I didn't take I didn't even take a week vacation for the first 11 years. And although we're driven by purpose, I was chained and imprisoned by that purpose in the clinic. And one day, the thing that used to bother me the most wasn't the fact that, yeah, even though we had a successful practice, my vision was a lot bigger. I knew there was something inside me that I could do more. And it was that one person that walked out that I didn't know why they walked out. With strong spiritual beliefs, I believe if we're faithful with one, then God's going to send us 100 or 1,000. And that's how we change humanity. So when that person walked out and I didn't know why, it used to bother me. Those were the ones that kept me up at night. So after 4 management groups, I quickly figured out that management groups seemed like someone else's personality of the same old thing. And so after 4 management groups, nobody could teach me. I realized nobody could teach me why people made the decisions they did, why one person committed and changed their life, and why another person who seemed to be the sickest person and needed it the most ended up walking out or quitting care. Or they say, "Doc, I can't afford it," and they pull up in their new car. Why was that? It used to drive me crazy. I'm sure how many of you have experienced that, right? So what I did is I started going outside of chiropractic. I'm like, I'm done. That's enough. I started studying human behavior. I started taking life coaching. I started studying NLP. I read studies on human behavior and got books and literally developed a patient management system that took patients from the first phone call all the way into lifetime care. And what I found when I started implementing all that, it was amazing. We actually went from about 120 a day, and it doesn't matter what number you're at. I'm just telling you where I was at just as a reference point. We added 100 people a day in 5 months, and I didn't spend 30 seconds outside my office marketing. There was no marketing. I mean, people committed. They brought in their family. They referred, because this was a science-based system on human behavior. And we ran our practice like a machine where I could just be the artist. You know what I mean? And then one day I looked at my schedule. There was 223 or 232 people on there. I had a bunch of new patients. And I saw, I'm about 90 days away from 300 a day because my goal is 1,000 a week. But yet I had 10,000 people driving by my office that day. And I thought, you know what? I'm not even touching my community. And I prayed before I adjusted the first person. I said, God, there's got to be something bigger. Well, a year and a half later, I sold my clinic. I started coaching. And I wanted to develop the most amazing, predictable, step-by-step system that wasn't personality dependent, that could run your office like a machine, study the best business model, the best research and system on patient management and human behavior, that could make this so predictable that you could actually fulfill your purpose. There's nothing worse than being at a level that you're at and you could look around and be successful, yet this urge inside you is pulling you to another level. That's when I started Elite Chiropractic Coaching. So I've had 20 years of research and study on human behavior. I wanted to know, how did Tony Robbins get 8,000 people across 2,000-degree colds and 30 people just get blisters? That's amazing. Why is Apple the most profitable culture in the history of the world? What are businesses doing? And the reality, what I found from studies out of Stanford and Harvard, is that companies today, we live in a different world. They're studying how to build a culture. And there's, believe it or not, there's 4 qualities that make your product or service a subconscious habit. Does that sound like chiropractic? Where a patient comes in, they don't have to think about whether they make their appointment on Wednesday. They don't have to think about going in lifetime care. And you have a business model that runs like a machine. You know, businesses are doing that now. So all I figured is, you know what? Why don't we pop the chiropractic bubble? Forget about people's personality. Let's find out what the rest of the world is doing that are changing the world today. And let's create a coaching system for spinal corrective doctors that is head and shoulders above, that is so predictable that you can actually fulfill that vision. So here's what we found in elite coaching over the last 10 years. Well, first of all, if you want to grow your practice, 93.6% of the doctors grow their practice 30 to 50% in 90 days. In fact, we guarantee it, 93.6. Some people take a little bit longer, you know, and everybody has racehorses, but this is almost 94%. We found that when we teach leadership and self-empowerment, I got a mind bender for you. Are you ready for this one? When a person comes in with back pain, they come in with a certain perspective, certain belief systems. We want to change the way they think and the way they live their life and create a chiropractic lifetime patient for them and their family and all their friends, right? If you think about it, they come in with one perspective. We want them to live their life differently. That's actually a self-empowerment system. Does that sound like a self-empowerment coach? So if we adapt to the world today, chiropractors are really self-empowerment coaches with the best healthcare application that I think is known to man. But guess what? We've never been professionally trained. So what we do in Elite, we teach you self-empowerment. And in that process of learning to do it with others, you become a great leader. Your staff becomes a great leader. We turn your staff into not only world-class leaders, but world-class entrepreneurs. So they take responsibility for running the systems in your practice. One of the greatest complaints that I get from people is they may have an inspired team or they love the purpose, but they're task-driven. Task-driven teams make mistakes, right? They're micromanaging. So what if your team were leaders? What if they saw it as their responsibility to have you just be the artist and the healer, and they ran all the systems for you? That's what we see in Elite. That's why 93.6 grow 30 to 50%. So we teach leadership. We teach entrepreneurship. We teach you how to build a culture that is so strong that your practice has its own life force. It's based on human behavior, and it grows by itself. It's kind of like the metaphor. If you ever teach your kid, when we were learning how to run a bike, you know, your parents ran alongside you and you're going along, but they just touched the seat to guide you. That's what your purpose is like. Okay, so when you learn that, man, you go from success to fulfillment. So we've taken people that, you know, they want to grow. And it doesn't matter what volume you're at, 30 to 50% in 90 days is phenomenal. We have people that just want freedom. They want their practice to run like a machine. I know when I had associates, training your associates feels like a second job. So imagine if you had a coach that gave you one-on-one attention for you and your team, that you had a relationship with. You know, I mean, I've been in coaching groups where you have your weekly call, but man, who's there on Wednesday at 3:30 when something blows up? Can you pick up the phone and go, Dr. Fred, can you talk to my office manager? We got a problem right now that we need to get through. Are you looking for a relationship where you have safety, where you have certainty? See, this is what I didn't have. So when I created Elite, it's a life coaching model. So you have your own limiting beliefs. Your team may have limiting beliefs, because what holds people back? You know, we wonder, is it me or is it my systems? Hey, guess what? It's both. So imagine if we could clear those out in you and your team, take you to the next mindset, the next consciousness. If you're at a certain level and you have a vision, The reason you're not there is the mindset and systems don't match your vision. But when they do, growth becomes a vacuum. So imagine if you had someone that was attached to your hip that looked at your practice now and could say, here's exactly what we could do with this coaching. In fact, I can guarantee that if we do this, you have our full one-on-one commitment that we can take you to that level. And by looking at your numbers, by looking at what you have, by talking to you, we can say, this is where we can get you with this coaching. And if that matches, would that be a worthwhile investment? You would have safety, you would have certainty, you'd have massive return on your investment. We're not putting you in a box. We're tailoring it to you, your vision, and the life you want to create. And what I find is even more important, not only do chiropractors want to reach their purpose in chiropractic, but there's a life, because what are we? We're fathers, we're wives, we're spouses. You know, we're not only spouses, but we're part of a family. And we want to create a great life. So our vision and our goal is not only for you to create a fulfilling practice in chiropractic, but create a fulfilling life. So really, that's what we offer. If you feel that you're ready for that type of system, we actually have, it's the end of the year, man, we have opportunities not only to have a strong finish this year, but certainly to catapult into 2018 and really be dedicated to fulfill our vision. So we just encourage you, this isn't for everybody, but if you're that person that says, you know what, I'm ready right now, wherever I'm at, I'm ready to fulfill that vision and I'm ready to take the steps. Go to www.elitecoachingllc.com, or you can just call me. We are all about relationships. It's our primary core value. You can just call me at 949-791-2986. And we're out here to take spinal corrective doctors, make them the most successful, transform the profession, how we communicate to patients, because I may be dumb enough to believe that we can actually change humanity in our lifetime. So if you're on board with that, you're ready to go to the next level. You're ready to say, you know what, let's get rid of the stuff that held us back. Let's just blow that out of the water and let's create a vacuum from where you are to your vision. Then I look forward to chatting with you.
This has been a ChiroSecure production.